Good evening, everybody. Chris and Tiffany here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to tonight's live video. And we actually have quite a bit to talk about tonight. A lot of stuff has gone on in the cruise news here over the last week. Got some changes from Carnival, some changes from Royal Caribbean, and honestly, just a couple of stupid cruiser stories to go over tonight. Some people not so smart, not so intelligent when it comes to their cruising choices and decisions. But we'll give everybody a chance to hop in, everybody a chance to say hello, and we will go from there.
We do have Enchantment of the Seas is here, wanting to know where everyone is.
That's what we're waiting for everybody to hop on in. It is Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Is 6? Okay. But we'll give everybody a chance to hop in, everybody a chance to say hello. And then we're going to jump right in here into the cruise news and talk about everything interesting going on in the cruising world. So, but we are getting close to our next cruise.
Yes.
We're getting closer day by day. We are getting closer. We will be back out, of course, here on November the 9th on MSC Seascape. It's going to be the very first cruise out of Galveston, out of the new cruise terminal. So that should be fun. That should be exciting.
So 2 months? Less than 2 months.
Should be, less than 2 months. It was actually would have been, 60 days yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're counting that one down. Started looking at cruises here for 2026. Found a couple ones that we may look into for next year. But nothing's been fully locked in and decided on that one yet. But we'll go ahead and jump right on in then, and we will start talking about, since we are talking about Galveston, we're going to go ahead and talk about
Enchantment and Disney Adventure is right around the corner.
Yep, that has been floated out, is currently heading towards a dock in Germany, where they're going to continue fitting out that ship. But it has been officially floated.
Connie's here. Ahoy, mateys. I enjoyed the video of Chris and Tiffany having dinner in the Wonderland. That was a fun dinner.
That was a very, very fun dinner.
Anyway.
It was still fun, even if the food wasn't exactly, what I wanted or what I enjoy. It was still a good dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still a fun experience.
And it was funny because even after that night, we were walking around the ship and you could tell who had gone to Wonderland, because I heard several people doing the meow, meow, meow.
Yeah, that does kind of stick with you. That definitely does stick with you. Yeah, you're right. You could tell along the cruise who had just been to Wonderland for dinner that night, because that song gets stuck in your head and you just go from there. But Carnival did announce this week we are going to get 2 different Carnival cruise ships coming to Galveston for the 2027 cruising season. We're getting the Carnival Spirit out of Mobile, Alabama, and we are getting the Carnival Horizon out of Florida. They're going to join the Carnival Breeze and the Carnival Jubilee, so that's going to give us the 4 ships sailing out of Galveston. I kind of figured we were going to get the Horizon or the Magic or one of those particular cruise ships. That's kind of where I was landing with that. This was not expecting to get the Spirit, though. But we are going to get the Spirit out of Mobile and the Carnival Horizon. And they've actually put out the itineraries for those. And there's some really good, nice itineraries attached to those 2 particular ships. Some longer cruises, some journey cruises, and several Eastern Caribbean cruises that are going to be coming out from those 2 ships. And the Breeze is actually going to have a couple of longer cruises that's currently being done by the Dream. So it's going to be nice. It's just more options, more choices, definitely more itineraries. And now the Carnival has announced that, it wouldn't surprise me to see the other cruise lines put a few more of those longer itineraries in there, especially when they become really popular. So, but so good news for Galveston, 2 more additional cruise ships from Carnival. Now, Carnival has also come out and they've released a new drink package. So, and cruisers of Carnival, cruise fans of Carnival have been asking for it for a long, long time. Carnival only had the soda package and the Cheers package. Nothing in between. You get a coffee card and get it stamped, but no package in between. And now they've released the zero proof package. You would purchase ahead of time, it's like $29 a day. It pretty much includes everything that is not alcoholic. So you can get your mocktails, you can get your coffee, your soda, your juice, your milkshakes, your energy drinks, all through that at $29 a day. It's pretty good. If you drink roughly five non-alcoholic drinks every day on your cruise, it pays for itself. And I'm pretty sure you could handle, you would try to drink 5 coffees a day if you could. So that would work out really good for you.
Because they use small cups. They don't use big cups.
This is true. All right, so let's see.
Enchantment says, sorry about Glissan's Utopia cruising in Florida. Florida's filming in Florida while Utopia is doing cruises. Well, I hope Utopia and Florida are having fun.
Yep. So Nellie is here, and James is here as well.
Nellie says, I like some of those moves by Carnival.
So far, I do too. Now, we're still waiting to see what's going to come. We know Mobile's getting a ship year-round. And with the Carnival Spirit not doing her half a year there, Mobile's going to get a different ship. We know that there's a Conquest class ship going up to Baltimore. I think it's Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore. So they're not done yet. Now, John Heel did say today that he has a big announcement for tomorrow. I have no clue what that announcement's going to be. Could be something else because, like I said, they dropped some big ones. The new drink package. They've been talking about moving the ships around. We'll have to see what he has to say tomorrow. What is his version of a big story? Because the last time they said, we got a big story coming, it was that the festival was going to Florida, and that really wasn't what I would call a big story or a shocker. So,
Enchantment says, you guys know Independence of the Seas and Harmony, right? What if Royal Caribbean made a July of the Seas? The 3 ships that I think will be perfect is Harmony of the Seas, Independence, and July. James says, hello, Nellie. Yes, I'm looking at the longer cruises out of Galveston.
We are too. I've already picked several of those itineraries that I'm going to be doing a little further research on and see how they fit. I've already sent them to Tiffany to pique her interest on that. So for 2027, I think we're definitely going to be doing some of those longer cruises out of Galveston because we're going a whole lot of really good places that we'd like to go. Some for a second time and some we've never been to.
Yeah. Nellie says, Glisson's is now Enchantment. I thought you left. Enchantment says, no, he was just busy.
Okay. But yeah, so that is our current updated Carnival news. Now, of course, there's been other cruise news this week. We had the MV Gemini, which is a cruise ship that sails over in Europe, decided to have an accidental collision with a cruise dock. Put a pretty good gash. If you see in the picture, there's a good gash. The picture looks like it penetrated the hull. I mean, all the way in. But it was, of course, above the waterline. But she's been tied up there since. We'll see how long that ship goes out. But it's a very old ship. It was built like in the 90s. It's been through multiple cruise lines, and now it just does really short itineraries around Greece. It was originally tasked that they thought they were going to turn it into one of those residential ships, and that just hasn't panned out.
James said, would love to try a 10 to 14-day cruise.
Where we got our eyes on one of those 14-day cruises.
Nellie said that was a big gash.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good-sized hole in the side of that ship. So hopefully they get that fixed and get that back out there.
Nellie said, I will also try the 5-night Horizon. I want to see what that's about.
Yeah, we definitely want to jump on the Horizon. Now, we've been on the Vista. It's a sister ship. Vista was not our favorite Carnival layout. Horizon's going to be similar, but that's not going to stop us from attempting to jump on that ship. So definitely want to do the Carnival Spirit. I'm really interested in that particular class of ship, the Spirit classes. They're small, they're intimate ships, and I'd really like to try one of those. Plus, she's got some really good itineraries coming out. So
Nellie wants to know if you're looking at one that goes to Martinique.
I might have been. I've got the pictures on my phone of it, but probably because there were some. I was looking at the ones that were basically not going Cozumel, Costa Maya, and Galveston. We were looking at the 10, 12, 14-day itineraries out of those. Tiffany's got those somewhere. She can take a quick look. Yeah, it would be from those 3 right there.
Let's see. This one is Fun Day at Sea, Celebration Key, Bahamas, Relax Away, Half Moon Key, Grand Turk, Amber Cove, and then 3 fun days at sea and then back home.
That was one of them. And Connie says, for the Celebrity XL that I'm booked on in January, Celebrity just announced that they are going to have dual cruise directors. I did see that. Where they were going to have 2 cruise directors on there. We'll have to see how that works out.
The second one that you showed me was 2 sea days, Grand Cayman, Montego Bay, sea day, Isle Tropical,
which is Montego,
Roatan,
Bay, yeah.
Belize, Cozumel, and sea day. Then the next one is 2 sea days, Roatan, sea day, Panama Canal.
Oh, that was the Panama Canal one.
Yeah, Costa Rica, sea day, Cozumel, sea day.
Right, so those were just some of the ones that we were looking at, and then there were some other ones.
Sea day, Key West, Celebration Key, sea day, Puerto Rico, San Juan, St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. Martin, St. Croix, sea day, Ochos Rios, and then 2 sea days. And then the next one is 2 sea days, Grand Cayman, sea day, Aruba, Bonaire, Caraco, sea day, Montego Bay, 2 sea days, and then home.
Right. So those are the ones that are basically one covering the entire Virgin Islands, essentially, and then one doing the ABC Islands, and then the Panama Canal. Because that's still on my list. As long as it's at least a partial transit, you got to go through the locks. If it's not going through the locks, I'm not interested. But according to that, it should be going through the locks. That one I have a lot of interest in right there.
Nellie says the one with St. Croix is the one I was looking at. And
that is a awesome itinerary.
Back up to Connie. In a historic move, Celebrity Cruises has named 2 inaugural cruise directors for the upcoming Celebrity XL. Instead of just one person, Shauna Hatchie and Luigi Del Mar will be the dynamic duo. Nellie likes Luigi.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool concept. If it's going to bring more fun, more entertainment, maybe some additional activities, having 2 cruise directors on board, that'd be great. Of course, the cruise comment will follow along shortly after that comes out, that instead of 1 cruise director giving announcements, there's now going to be 2. So instead of being nickel and dime, now they'll feel like they were nickel and quartered. I mean, because it's not like the cruise director comes on and starts talking, and if you're not interested, you just stop listening. That's what I do. Oh, he's talking about a cell in the drugstore. Never mind. And I go back to what I'm doing, but that's just me.
Champman said, while I was out, I searched up Holland America and Queen Anne. Don't you think both of them have some similarities when it comes to the ship?
No, I do not. And the honest reason for that is because one is a cruise ship and one is an ocean liner.
James says, okay, cool. Love a Western Eastern Caribbean, and the Panama Canal is one I like to do.
Yeah, and the Panama Canal, especially if you get that on one of the smaller cruise ships, like a Spirit class cruise ship, she can still go through the old locks, which I would much rather go through the old locks than the new locks, because that's where the history is. And I would rather see some more of that history. All right. Now, Royal Caribbean should be no surprise to anybody, because they've been doing this for a hot while. They have canceled more cruise ports or more cruise stops going to Labadee. In Labadee, Haiti, they're still dealing with their civil unrest, and in an abundance of caution, as Royal Caribbean says, they've canceled additional cruises. So all cruise stops going to Labadee have essentially been canceled through April of 2026 right now. Nothing is scheduled until May of 2026. And of course, that is still subject to change. And that only affects Royal Caribbean. That's one of their private stops, one of their, Royal Caribbean only destinations. But yeah, so if you're booking for Labadee, not going to happen anytime soon. Now, all right. Now we're going to have some fun here. We're going to talk about some just really dumb people and why they pick cruising as to do their really, really dumb stuff or involve cruising at all. Just it baffles me to no end. All right, so we had a Pittsburgh lady, okay, Pittsburgh area resident lady. She had a cousin who was in a motorcycle accident. Okay, she started a GoFundMe page for him. She raised a little over $40,000 in this GoFundMe for her injured cousin. Problem is, her injured cousin didn't get any of this money. Apparently, she withdrew $37,000 of this money into her own private account, including $6,200 booked on a Carnival cruise. Yeah, so if you be wary if you see GoFundMe pages out there. She's currently pending all kinds of charges for theft and receiving of stolen property over a GoFundMe page. Yeah, so if you start a GoFundMe page, that's for whatever it was intended that you started it for, not for your personal use and vacation needs.
That's why I don't trust any of them. I've never donated to a GoFundMe. I just...
I'll check it. It gets even better. So how about Rhapsody of the Seas? Okay. Pulls into San Juan, Puerto Rico for disembarkation. It's disembarkation morning. People are normally getting off the ship, except for one guy. One guy who decided he was going to rack up $16,000 in the casino. That's how much he owed essentially on his sign and sale card here before he could get off the ship. He decided he did not want to pay this money. So his solution was not to disembark the ship. Instead, it was to jump off the side of the ship into the ocean. Oh no, it gets better. It gets better. So he jumps in the ocean. He is okay. A jet ski picks him up, takes him to shore, and he bolts. Off he goes. He didn't get very far. He was caught. And then this is where the story gets a whole lot more interesting. Because it turns out the ID card that he used to even board the ship in the first place, well, it wasn't his. It was stolen from his brother, who's in jail. So he used his brother's stolen identification to even board the ship. Then jumps off the ship to avoid paying the $16,000. They catch him. They catch him with $14,000 in cash in his pocket and 5 additional IDs that aren't him. So I'm going to say he's probably in trouble. He's pending charges and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, that will go through the legal system. But why, oh, why? It's almost like an episode of The World's Dumbest Criminals. If you're going to do dumb stuff, stolen IDs, not want to pay $16,000, a cruise ship is not the place to do this. Security on, security off. Risk your life to jump off the side of a ship. It's insane. But yeah, he racked up the charges. He just didn't want to pay. And of course, if you don't pay, they don't let you off.
Yeah. Chica's stopping in. Ola, just stopping by to say hello. I have a meeting at 4:30, so I can't stay. Well, thanks for stopping in, and I hope your meeting goes well.
Nelly above it.
Nelly said, I wonder how the cousin found out they had a GoFundMe. I'm sure word of mouth or even just go on Facebook because that's usually where they are.
I'm sure that she was promoting it and everything like that. And I guess that's when they really caught it. It was when it was like the injured cousin never got any of the donations that were for his injuries and his medical bills. He never received anything. I'm sure he's like, excuse me, what's going on? And they go and look and the money's gone.
Nelly said, how did he get 16,000 approved? I don't know how.
No idea.
Nelly, you would be the expert on that. I don't know how any of that works. We just go in and say $20. So that's the biggest we've ever done.
I mean, but he's right though. I would think that there would be some kind of limit where the cruise line would say, "Whoa, okay, you've racked up, a couple $1,000s. We got to cover this first." But this isn't the first time we've heard of extremely large amounts being owed to the casino at the end of cruise. It's not even the first time we've ever heard that story before. And honestly, they're casinos. It's not like they're really all that invested in coming up to you going, "Tiffany, you've lost, $500. Are you okay? Should you stop?" That's not, really what they do.
Nellie says when you get a line of credit, you have to do lots of things to get it. And then Cruising Chris M is here.
Well, keep in mind, they found him when they caught him. He did have like $14,600 in his pocket. So he had the majority of the money. He just didn't want to give it to them. So I'm assuming if there was some kind of check or confirmation, he's like, "Yeah, look, I got the money right here." He had the cash. What the? Dog is being all kinds of weird. Dog touches butt. Cruising Chris M, welcome to the show.
James says, "Thank you, Nellie. I was thinking the same thing."
Yeah, so it's, I don't know how he racked it up. No clue, no idea. But I don't know. I guess he's lucky he didn't break something, his neck, a leg. The water could have been shallow and he could have bounced off the bottom, because on Rhapsody of the Seas, the closest you could have jumped off of is what, deck 4, deck 5? So you still got a couple stories to go down before you smack that water. I guess he's lucky nothing happened to him. That it wasn't way worse than it actually turned out to be, because it could have been bad.
Nellie said, "I assume he and his brother may be going out on bad terms." His brother's already out, because it sounded like his brother was already in jail.
Yeah, his brother's already in jail for a whole something else that had nothing to do with this. I don't know. It's look, I got somebody else's ID. Let me go through, Customs and Border Protection. Let me go through ship security. Let me then jump off the side of the ship at the end, and I just assume that they're just gonna be like, "Oh, okay, he's gone. We'll let it go." It's only $16,000. It's hard to imagine that that's even remotely the case. So, but there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. And that's the cruise news I had. That's the big cruise story. I said we are waiting to see what big cruise story Carnival is going to release tomorrow that John Heald hinted about. He says they'll have a big announcement video tomorrow morning, and we'll see. We'll see if it's actually a big announcement. Because like I said, sometimes what Carnival says is a big announcement is not necessarily a big announcement to the rest of us. They sometimes make it bigger than it actually is. A new drink package is a big announcement. The moving around of cruise ships is a big announcement. What was really funny about it, and it goes both ways, because every time they move cruise ships around, which they do every couple of years, they're going to shuffle the deck and spread it back out. It gives people opportunities who have favorite cruise ports to sail on different cruise ships than what they've been sailing on. But it's so funny if you actually go through and read the comments below his post when he talks about these movings. Boy, people get mad, upset, start writing angry comments in about the fact that the Horizon moved. People in Mobile just writing angry comments about the fact that Carnival Spirit moved.
Those are the ones that keep saying, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to cruise on that ship." And then they never do. And then it's gone.
Don't get me wrong. There's tons of fans for the Carnival Spirit. There's fans of the Carnival Horizon. But they're going to move. They're going to shift. They're going to adjust. And that's just normal in the cruising world. How many different ships have we seen in Galveston come and go? One time we had since we started cruising on Carnival, we've had the Valor, we've had the Freedom, have both rotated through here. We've seen the Miracle, the Legend coming through. Of course, the Breeze, the Dream, the Jubilee. Dream is leaving. We had the Carnival Vista for a while. Now we're getting the Horizon and the Spirit. And this just in the last, 7-8 years?
Mm-hmm.
So they shuffle the ships. People should honestly be used to that by now. In reality, it gives you an opportunity to try something different.
Nellie said, when I saw your latest video, I saw my second home on the ship. I was like, I know that hallway to get to the casino. Cruising Chris M. Nellie, that what I want to know. I would never try to gamble that much, more or less got for that line of credit. James says, I'm wondering how much they look alike because the passport or driver's license have pictures, so guess he looks a lot like his brother.
That's what I'm assuming, is that they must look very, very similar, enough that the agent didn't notice.
Which is odd because facial recognition is on a lot of that stuff now.
Right, but the facial recognition,
when you get off.
Remember, no, they scan your passport when you get on.
Yeah.
That puts you in the system to get off. So I would believe that if they scanned his brother's passport, but he never got to the facial recognition portion. He jumped off the side of the ship. Maybe that also had something to do with his motivation to not be on the ship. Now, apparently he made a statement that says he didn't want to have to declare the money in his pocket and pay taxes on it. Or apparently give it to the cruise line. So
Melly said, Chris, I've never taken a line of credit. No way. If I have to take a line of credit, then I should not be gambling.
Yeah, me neither. If it's not something I can afford to spend right then and there, and in my case, lose it almost every single time, I'm not doing that either. I would never take a line of credit in the casino. That's just not for me. I don't gamble enough to even risk something like that.
I think we're frozen.
No. I don't think we're frozen.
Cruising Chris and Nelly, that's what I want to know. I wouldn't. Okay. Never try to gamble that much more or less got for than that line of credit.
So, yeah, I mean, we are. Yeah, no, I'm still moving in the video. Okay. We always keep a second one independently playing on the side just to make sure we don't freeze and do goofy things like that. So hopefully it's not us. That's all I can say, is hopefully it is not us. There's been a couple other little cruise stories right here. I guess there's some controversy going on over at Princess Cruise Lines. Princess is trying to pass new requirements for the crew members that they have to either cover all their tattoos, or not have tattoos or things like that in order to be crew members. And of course, the crew members are like kind of rebelling against this. They're complaining, not complaining, but they're, I guess, like voicing their opinions over the changes and stuff like that. Looks like Princess might back off of it a little bit. But yeah, over tattoos, which if this was 20, 30 years ago, I could see this argument. But today, really not so much. I mean, so many people have tattoos. Crew members have tattoos. A lot of the cruise lines don't. You can just have them now. Mm-hmm. For Princess to back off it a little bit and say, "Oh, tattoos, no, that's not good." That's just kind of odd for 2025. You know, in my opinion. And I don't even have tattoos. I don't have a single solitary one. But a crew member with a tattoo has never been like a oh my God kind of moment, you know?
It's not going to make or break your cruise.
Yeah, that doesn't make or break my cruise. It doesn't change the service they provide, even on a cruise line like Princess. I know Princess has got an older demographic, and if people are going to complain about tattoos, I hate to say it, that is unfortunately usually where it comes from, is that older demographic is the same ones that don't like that formal night isn't enforced in dining rooms. They don't like the fact that there's noise. All of that stuff. Don't wear a hat. Oh my God, he wore a pair of jeans. Pajamas in the dining room on Christmas morning. That all comes from essentially the same group, I'd like to say.
See, it was Chris that was frozen. But that's all right. Hopefully you got it fixed. James said, I'm cheap. The most I have gambled on a ship is $100. Kelly said, to be fair, you really don't have to claim that money. Customs is almost outside of the terminal. I mean, if one wanted to try and get away with it, I would claim over 10,000. Then James says,
which is, I think, what you have to claim. I think it has to be over 10,000 before it's a big claim. Yeah, and while I am not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that one avoids customs in declaring things to customs, remember, Chris did not say avoid customs. However, they're usually not very thorough. The last couple of cruises we've been on, they've stopped even asking, do you have anything to declare?
Mm-hmm.
They just are like, exit door, go. And they don't even bother talking to us anymore.
Yeah.
So you probably, in theory, for the majority of the time, could get things through customs as long as you're not looking all shady and suspicious. Not that I recommend that.
No.
To be clear, that is not an encouragement to anybody out there.
Nellie said, James, I gambled that in one day plus some.
Hence the casino offers that you get on a daily basis.
Attila's here. Welcome, Attila. He said, hey, y'all running late again. That's all right. At least we made it. Attila said, pup alert. Yeah, he fell asleep.
He's got one eye open.
Yeah.
He's side-eyeing the screen.
Nellie said, maybe it worked out for the best. I didn't go. Y'all wouldn't have seen my mom more than me. You wouldn't have to wonder where I was.
We walked through the casino enough. We'd have at least occasionally run into you.
Cruising Chris, I am in the older demographic in my late 50s. I have a tattoo. If this was 30 years, that was a different time. But today, nah.
Now, see, I'm in my 50s also. And I don't consider us that demographic, by the way, because I'm still going down water slides and flow riding and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking add another 20, 30 years to that. Those that were cruising when cruising very first started, and cruising was a completely different animal when it started than it is now. But not in such a way that you would think it would garner so much stuff. Yeah, dinner was a more formal affair with tablecloths and everything. Carnival doesn't really do that anymore. But at the same time, Carnival used to whack golf balls off the back of their ship, shoot skeet. They used to have pillow fight contests. And they had a contest where the guys would dress up in women's nightgowns. So it's the same demographic that went through all of that and enjoyed all of that is now fussing about a pair of blue jeans and a baseball hat.
Cruising Chris says, I like seeing ink on others. I do too, because I really want one. I just can't get one. And it's not because I'm scared of needles.
Yeah, she's got skin thingies that prevent her from getting one. Me, honestly, I'm not going to let someone stab me 5,000 times with a needle. That's just not in my wheelhouse whatsoever. However, again, though, other people have them. Awesome. Kids have them. Crew members have them. I don't care. It does not change. When I go up and get my Papa Jack at the bar, it doesn't change the flavor of my drink.
Nellie said, I got an allure out of Galveston offer April 29th. So that is booked. It's an ocean view. That's good enough. Yeah, because
that's because you've been paying for it for like 5 years.
And who needs a view when you're in the casino?
That's true. What do you need a balcony for? Spin that on an inside cabin and go hang out in the casino the whole time.
Nellie said Royal still has guy and women's clothes in Crazy Quest. Tilla says, hi, James. Nellie said, I have one tattoo on my arm, Yankees, but it hurts so much. One and done. Most my kids have sleeves. So yeah. He
said that's the first five. That does not encourage me to want to do it anymore whatsoever. I'd had enough when it got to 5,000. Apparently, that's just the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, because it's a bunch of needles. It's not just one needle. It's a bunch of needles, and it's going up and down.
Yeah, that's
from my understanding. I don't know.
It's like getting attacked by a handheld sewing machine.
I've seen.
Yeah, no, not for me. I'm a big old chicken. when it comes to that.
I watched my mom and my sisters get matching tattoos while I got the stencil.
they drew it on her. But like I said, in Tiffany's case, her skin does not do well with change, such as, introduction of color into her skin.
Yeah, no.
So, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, that's just a goofy example of some of the things that I guess, and I'm assuming that's why either Princess got somebody new in their management team that said, let me stir the damn pot and create these problems, or, passengers were fussing. Who knows? But
James wants to know how long does it take to get a casino offer?
depending on what you spend on the cruise, you could get it after one cruise if you're, willing to get a $16,000 line of credit. I'm sure they're going to give you a cabin offer, provided you don't jump off the side of the ship at the end. But if you were to actually pay it off and get off that ship and go on there and lose, I've heard different numbers, and Nellie can probably speak more accurately to what that number is. But I've heard $1,500 is usually like where you'll start getting offers from the casino. So, but Nellie, you'll have to let me know how accurate that is, because I've never, ever, ever been anywhere near that number.
I'd have to hurt him if he did.
What I heard is solo cruise.
David's here. Welcome, David. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Melly said, Google Royal Casino and it will take you to site. Sign in with your Royal site, log in, and it will show you. It could take 3 weeks or longer.
It's weird. I got an invitation to go sign into that from Royal Caribbean. I can't figure out why.
You spent $20 and lost $20, so
I'm pretty sure that does
good fit.
Let's get him on the shit more. He'll just lose more.
Yeah.
Is that theory?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all know that cruise ship casinos the odds are all in favor of the house. They don't have the same strict rules and regulations that Vegas has, and they're even way more in favor of themselves while they're out at sea.
Ellie said it's 1,500 points, which is $5 for 1 point.
Okay, 1,500 points. That makes. Thought I'd seen that number.
That's a lot of money.
Well, I mean, I had on my. Well, it depends, because
that would have only been 4 points for $20.
Right, but see, we were playing on the slot machines. We're playing on Buffalo. I actually had pretty close to 100 points.
But that's a cruise, I'm sure.
No, that's per cruise.
Oh.
But you win some, you lose some. You win some, you lose some. Well, I don't ever win big. I can make $20 with, as long as Tiffany's not sitting there. In the Buffaloes game, I can make that last hour and a half, 2 hours. Win a couple, lose a couple. It's kind of an up and down thing, which is how I like to play anyway. I'm there to play for the enjoyment of playing, not going, yeah, I'm going to win this big old jackpot and quit my job when I get home. That's just not my luck. But it earned points doing even that.
James says, thank you, Nellie. Have to do that. Something I've always wondered about. Nellie says, Chris, they always send new players offers all the time. Just sign in.
I will. I'll go in and sign it in just out of utter curiosity to see what they say. I mean, it can't hurt. I'm not expecting them to offer me anything, but what if they did? You never, ever know. I mean, maybe it's a pity prize, because when we were on Harmony, and I always forget, when you go in the casino for the very first time, you put your card on there, or in case of Harmony, you scan it, and then you have to put in your PIN code. And it's always some combination of what it ended up being. It's your birth month and then your birthday. That's your PIN code the very first time, and then you go in and change it. I could not remember the order that code was there. I ended up locking my account out. I had to go to the casino cage. They had to come and unlock my stuff. Yeah, it was a whole thing. So maybe it's a pity invite. They're like, yeah, he's dumb. He can't even figure out how to log in.
Nellie said, I usually get 1,500 to 2,000 points. It's money in and out. It has the potential to add up quick. So,
yeah, you can add it up pretty quick. Like I said, I'm never anywhere near that. I think the best I've ever done on a cruise is like 150 points, 170, something like that. It's never been that.
Sorry. James says, yeah, I have seen these offers and just wondered how it works, and we'll have to sign in and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what they'll offer you. And I'm sure it went out to everybody, but like I got an email from Carnival this past week where they were doing $50 deposits and $50 of onboard credit. So, and honestly, the big part of that one was the $50 deposits. It's nice when you get those low deposit offers. You can actually book a couple out, especially if you're booking, a year or two down the road. Book those now for $50 and then
Pay
off on them. It's nice that you don't drop that big chunk right up front. Especially if you're deciding, am I actually going to make this one and not make this one? Because $50 is a lot better to lose than anything else. And you can always go back and add your insurance and your gratuity as long as it's before the final due date. So, nice little thing that Carnival was putting out this week.
Cruising Chris M says, on Princess, I won $800. Didn't get any offer, no percentage of or nothing. I would think they would want some of their money back.
Casino offers they're definitely weird. I've seen a lot of comments over the years where people say that they play regularly in the casino, they spend money, and they claim they get no offers, no anything, no matter what cruise line it's from. Then there's some that say, "Oh, I played one time and now I constantly get offers." All those offers come directly from the casinos. They're usually independent from other offers, cruise line offers, and to listen to some of the comments that people put out, I'm not real sure. I can't see a pattern, a rhyme, or reason. I'm sure that they do it to new players a lot, entice them back on the ship, entice them to spend more money. A lot of businesses do that. If you're a first timer, you get the better deals than the long time players. But
well, Nellie says that it has to do with time spent in casinos. So when you went to Buffalo and stayed there for a bit, that adds to the algorithm. James says, thank you, Nellie. Good information. Nellie also said, see, Moss, I would spend the $800 back to the casino and turn the money through the machines.
So, yeah. I mean, you never know. I'll go sign in and see what it says. I mean, the worst case, it's going to say, hi, welcome to it. Get back on the ship, spend some money, and maybe we'll talk. But yeah, that's the worst it's going to say. That doesn't cost me anything to sign in. Doesn't cost me anything to check. And I've played a little bit on every ship that has the game on it. So I even found a new game besides Buffaloes. I did take a little time to play. What was the other one I played? The Fat Rhino or the Fat Hippo? The Fat Rhino.
Yeah.
One game called the Fat Rhino. I said, ooh, that game it called to me.
Nellie's laughing at us. No answer. Y'all would take that 800. Yes, we would.
If Tiffany was with me, you're darn right she would. I'd be spinning and she'd be hitting the cash out button and running with that ticket if it ever said $800 on it. Yeah. She'd be gone with it. She does that to me now. If I start getting up high enough and she's there, she'd be like, boop, cash out. And off she goes with my ticket. Straight to the cashier's cage and gone. And that goes in her purse, her pocket, and she uses it on something else, cruise related later on.
Yeah. David says, welcome, David. We do not play in the casino, but still once in a while get an offer. We don't play enough. He does it because he gets bored and wants to pass some time so he doesn't sleep all day.
I like the Buffaloes. And I do like the Buffaloes. Something about the machine yelling Buffaloes at me, it just gets me excited for the day. It's not like I've ever gone down to the casino at 4 a.m. while Tiffany's sleeping to play Buffaloes. That's never happened.
Y'all know he tells that story like that, but he gave himself away at 6 o'clock when he came back and woke me up and gave me the ticket of his winnings. Nellie said, I won on Freedom and had $1,300 and Haley saw it and made me cash out. Yes, good job, Haley. James said, yeah, I guess I need to sign up and spend a little and see what happens. I don't know. I guess my theory on gambling is kind of like the way I think about PTO and stuff. I have to work really, really, really hard to get that. And just to give it away is really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give a lot away, but I do set aside a certain amount that I know I'm going to play in the casino for the cruise, because I do enjoy it a little bit. It's not my driving motivation, but I do enjoy it enough that I do put enough aside. But once I lose it, I've lost it.
Yeah.
I don't dip into other sources to replenish it.
James says, Nellie, you have a smart lady there.
They do keep us out of trouble most of the time. Except for, like I said, I get up really early and she sleeps. And at that time, I'm unsupervised.
Nellie said, I set money aside, no more money from anywhere else.
Right. And that is the absolute smartest thing that anybody can do is you say, I'm going to spend this much. No matter what that amount is, you have this much to spend. And when it's gone, it's gone. And as long as you don't deviate from that, you're not jumping off the side of the ship at the end of your cruise to avoid your $16,000 tab.
Yeah.
That's really for me anyway, that's the key, the absolute key to playing in the casino and enjoying the casino is this is what I can lose. This is what I can not take home with me. So, but Tiffany, like I said, if it gets high enough though, she'll grab that ticket, cash that out, and then in the next cruise port we're in, she's in there. I'll take that and
that's how we pay for monsters and lunch, and
we have done that. We have used that money to pay for things in port before too.
Nellie said, now I have left Haley when she falls asleep and I go and slip away.
I get that. Except for Tiffany does not fall asleep during the daytime. At nighttime, though, if she goes to bed, I can slip away. And I'm usually up before her and I can slip away.
James wants to know when the date for the cruise is.
Okay. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit. So the scheduled date for the group cruise was October the 3rd of 2026. We had to think about it here a little bit more. We're at a crossroads here when it comes to this group cruise. Kind of a situation where we may actually push that and postpone that out to 2027. So we are currently with a travel agency, a host agency that is not really a good fit for us. I'm going to keep it nice and polite. We have an opportunity to switch to a different agency, one that I like the way she operates a lot better. I like her philosophy. I think we would do really, really well together. Here's the issue. I still have stuff booked with the current host agency I'm with, and I can't switch. I have to finish up with the one I'm with and be done with them and in my agreement with them before I can switch to another one, because you know all contracts and agreements and things like that. So I can't currently carry the group cruise with where I'm at because I don't plan to stay there long enough to see it through. And I can't put the group cruise with the new agency yet because we haven't moved over and I'm still with the old one. So right now, the group cruise is a little bit up in the air whether we're going to be able to do it in 2026. We're still going to cruise in 2026. And anybody that wants to, of course, join us on cruises in 2026 is more than welcome to. But an official, actual group cruise, I think we're going to hold and probably do it later on in 2027. I think that's currently where we are right now. At least that's our way of thinking right now. But I said the opportunity to switch to a new agency where honestly the support is going to be 1,000 times better. The multiple people that can, there'll be multiple myself and others that'll be able to help us get all this set up correctly, properly, and make sure it works exactly how it's supposed to work, is better for all of us in the long run. I think it's going to make it go a lot smoother and a lot better. So that's kind of where we are on the group cruise right now. Luckily, we didn't have anything set up. We had populated the group at one time, and it's a whole thing. And we ended up losing some slots, and that one fell off, and it's a mess. So, and thank you, James, for everybody. If you're enjoying today's video, definitely hit that like button. It just lets YouTube know people are enjoying it, sends it out to other people, suggests other people come over and check out our stuff. So we will have further information on that here coming up in the future, particularly once we get everything transitioned and moved over. There actually may be more opportunities to do different cruises with different people and different things once we move over to. I think we'll actually have more cruising opportunities with the new company than we will with the old company. So that's where we are right now.
Yes.
Yes. Any thoughts, any opinions, anything you want to share with the group?
Hi.
Jimmy said hi.
I'm sorry, I'm tired. It's been a long week and it's only Wednesday.
That's because you're not supposed to go to work on your day off.
Yeah, well.
I know. Yeah, we do have some family obligations to do tomorrow.
James says, okay, that's cool. I'd be good with that. And since I know the other cruise agent you are talking about and the situation and think it would be a good move for you.
Yes, exactly what we talked about in Galveston, James. That's kind of what we're going on. But I don't want to say anything more publicly until all of the official boxes have been checked and we can actually announce that publicly.
Nellie says, looking forward to hearing about what's up with the group cruise. Attila said, I want to do a group on the Carnival Spirit out of Galveston in 2027 or 28. I think that's what Chris is shooting for.
Yeah.
Once we get the move made, we got to get that move made first.
Right. And that's what I'm kind of thinking, the exact same lines, is that with some of those really good itineraries coming out of Galveston for that year, shifting it over to Texas is kind of what I'm looking at doing as well. I know not everybody, but there are several people in our group that would go on a group cruise like that are closer to Galveston than some other cruise ports. I know James enjoys sailing out of Galveston. And the other thing is when we do get it set up and we get it prepared and we actually put it forward where people can start booking, I want to have at least a year and a half or more before the cruise where people can, there's no, you're not
Trapping yourself.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, okay, it's all this is due in this short. I want to be able to spread that out and make it as easy and comfortable for everybody that wants to go. And I want that support. They're working with us hand in hand, that when I have questions, concerns, y'all have questions, concerns, we have answers right away. And that's honestly something I'm lacking from my current agency. So, and that's what really bugs me more than anything. If I'm not feeling that support from them in the background, then, I'm concerned something happens, something goes wrong, something goes sideways, and then the ball gets dropped.
Nellie says, Haley and I will be there if all works out. James says, yes, Chris, we can still cruise and hopefully have Nellie, Attila, and others join us. Absolutely. I'd like to get a bunch of us on there.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing right now. I say, of course, Nellie was supposed to be on the cruise, just didn't work out with work. But James has been on a cruise. We've arranged to be on a cruise with James twice. If we're ever on a cruise and you want to hop on and hang out, we hang out with people on the ship. It's not like you're just going to come on and be like, hi, we see you, bye.
Yeah.
We hang out with James, and anybody else hops on, we would definitely be hanging out during that cruise. We do excursions with, unofficial group stuff. We still go on excursions and eat and hang out and do shows and everything as a group. For anybody that's just like wants to hop on them when everybody else is on.
Ellie said, yeah, why set something up and you are the only one doing it with no support?
Yeah, that's the biggest catch is that lack of support in the background, and it is truly an honest thing that bothers me so much is that we get down to the end and people have paid and something goes wrong and I can't get the support to correct the problem and it messes up people's cruises. I don't go for that.
No, they will take that cut. Yeah, they will. They will.
Yeah, oh no, they absolutely will take that cut no matter what. And
James says, folks, I've cruised with Chris and Tiffany twice and enjoy both a lot. They are fun people to hang out. Thank you, James.
as long as you're not into any serious activities, we're pretty much just goofy and shenanigans and things like that. Yep. But the most serious thing I take on the cruise is the videos I make.
Yeah.
I am serious about taking my videos, being at places where I want videos taken. But other than that, it's pretty goofy. And even some of the videos are goofy.
Yeah.
But it's planned goofy. Or not planned goofiness, but
that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it's not planned goofy. It's not like it's scripted goofiness, but you know, the goofiness is gonna come through. Yeah. But like I have certain spots where I know I'm gonna film this today, and so I want to be in this specific location 45 minutes before the event starts. So I've got prime videoing and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure Tiffany is not always happy about that. I'll turn around and catch her sitting on the floor reading her book like he's got me here again.
As long as I got my book or my game, I'm good. I don't care. One thing, Tiffany loves to decorate doors.
And if you book with us, we will know your cabin number.
Yeah.
Just saying. And Tiffany will be like, I know that number.
Hey, I didn't do anything awful.
Oh, no. She's never mean or ugly or disrespectful in any way, shape, or form about it. But it is fun.
But James, you always knew where your cabin was.
This is true. Because not a whole lot of people, there were a couple decorated doors in our hallway, but not a whole lot, especially when you got down near ours in particular.
Yeah.
And Tiffany had some unique decorations with those puffy things. I don't even know what they're called, but you're like, yep, that's my cabin.
Yeah, I had to tell them the night before or the morning of disembarkation. I'm like, hey, you have to actually look at the room numbers because I took the door decorations down.
Yeah. Until it says can bring your adult coloring books.
Yes. I need to get some of those. I want some of those.
Tiffany does not know what you're. As many videos as I put down, and even though that's a reference to one of our videos, I'm willing to bet Tiffany has no idea because she hasn't watched it. Yeah. Anyway, a customer wrote in a complaint that they were upset with the cruise line because Carnival Cruise Line did not provide them adult coloring books and crayons free of charge while they were on their cruise.
Bring your own.
Well, yeah, that's the obvious answer.
They bring their own Sudoku books. Why not bring your own coloring book?
David says his wife, they are actual clowns. Now, am I reading this wrong? Like they're funny and goof off and like shenanigans clowns?
I'm thinking that's what it is, not walk around with a red nose and white paint.
You don't know they could be employees of Barnum and Bailey? It says actual.
But we will definitely let you know when the group cruise is going to happen.
Yeah, it is going to happen. I think we're going to push back from the 2026.
Now he said, David, like actual clowns.
See, it's not just me.
James said, well, I'm moving to Northeast Indiana at the end of the month, but after I'm settled in, this man will be cruising every chance I get. I believe that. And that's good for you because I love to be out on the ocean.
Yeah. Well, who
it's
doesn't?
Good for everybody. It just does something for you.
It does. There is something about the ocean air, the breeze, yeah, it does. It really, really does something for you. It does something for your mind. It does something for.
We are clowns. Awesome. I love it. How do people get a list of your cruise?
Well, I'm really excited about this clown thing. I am.
Cheryl, welcome, Cheryl.
Okay, I really want to go.
I do balloons and she does face painting.
Okay, I really want David to be on a cruise
Yeah.
with us. I really, really do. I would love to hear those stories of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That has got to be some really. I would like to hear that.
Cheryl wants to know, how do people get a list of your cruises? We just tell people.
Yeah, we will post stuff like that over on our Facebook page, High Seas Cruising. Normally we just talk about it. Right now, the only thing we currently have booked is November the 9th, MSC Seascape. We're looking at out of Galveston. We are looking at 2026, but have not officially booked yet. Probably we'll start booking 2026 here in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So
James says, David, that'd be cool. Love to laugh and have fun.
Yeah, that would just be. It's the stories. I would love to sit around. Now that I know that, I mean, I would sit around with David anyway. We always sit around with anybody and just talk, but I'm just thinking he's got to have some good stories to tell that would be fun to listen to.
Yes. We do have some great stories.
See? Okay, yeah, definitely hope we get the opportunity to cruise with you. We can hear them.
Yeah.
You know,
awesome.
You know, we talk a lot about, crazy cruisers, not Karens. We have members of our channel that have that name. So bad cruisers, complaints, we talk about people jumping on the ship, avoiding. One thing we don't cover enough, I think, is the really awesome things that happen on a cruise and the really awesome people you can get to meet and spend time with on a cruise. I mean, think about this. James is from Ohio. Yeah, he's moving in, but he's from Ohio. So where other than on a cruise ship would we have met James and said, hey, let's go on Harmony of the Seas together. Let's go on the Norwegian Prima together, and we're going to hang out with someone we've never, ever met before and have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
That is what cruising does for people. You go, you meet great people, and you continue to meet great people and continue to be friends with the ones you've already met.
Yeah. And
where else do you do that? You can't go to Disney World and make great friends. You being friends with Mickey Mouse does not count. Okay. But you don't do that there. You don't do that at some of these land-based vacations. It's cruising where you get people literally from everywhere come together and become friends.
Yeah. David said, we have been doing it together for almost 20 years.
That is so cool.
Amazing.
That is really, really cool. Tiffany and I have trouble doing anything together for 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. He's
not lying.
We just spent a whole week, 8-9 days, whatever it was, on a ship together. We're fine.
Yeah, we are.
And other than going to work, we do just about everything together. Yeah. So
James said, yes, I have met some great people on cruises.
Yeah. And that is one of the things about cruising that maybe doesn't get enough acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Take all the bad out and really just look at all of the good stuff that comes from cruising. Like you mentioned, the way it makes you feel just being on the ocean is the exploration of new places, crew members you meet from around the world, and your fellow cruise passengers. Because you can sit down in an area on a cruise ship and cruise passengers will just randomly start talking to each other. Whether it's just in line, you're sitting in the theater before a show, you're eating.
Standing in the casino and that lady walked up to us and just, hey, how's it going? And just having a conversation.
Well, we went to Wonderland Restaurant and there was a table next to us and we were like talking and they just joined in the conversation and started sharing their thoughts on it. It was like, wow, this is great.
You don't do that.
You wouldn't do that over at, your local Texas Roadhouse. It's not like you're over at the next table going, hey, no.
David said we keep running into people we have met on different cruises. That's awesome. I've been seeing a lot of stories where they're re-seeing the different crew members on different ships and they're like reuniting. And there was one that I read and it made me so happy that it was a waiter in one of the restaurants. I think it was a Disney ship, but he had taken a picture of the family and sent it to his mom and everything like that. And the family came back on the ship and he recognized them and had to take another picture with them and send it to his mom. And now they're like correspond with each other, and it's just one big family.
Well, Attila was talking about the rude people at Disney World, and I think I met some of those last time we were there.
Yeah, I thought Chris was going to have it out with the lady in a stroller. So, Attila said, actually, some of the rudest people I've seen were at Disney World, Orlando. Haha, I don't blame them too much. It was midsummer, super, super crowded, and so hot outside. Yeah, and I blame Disney part of that too, because they try to cram so many people in there. And I mean,
yeah,
it gets to the point that it's not fun anymore. So. Tilla said cruisers are generally nice, fun, and just happy to be on a cruise. Cheryl said, when's Tiffany's next food video? I enjoyed the last one and was happy it turned out good.
I thought you had a plan for that. Well, you were talking about doing something.
I was, and now I can't remember what that plan was. So I will come up with something in the next couple of weeks. Attila said, actually, we had a bad encounter with a lady with a stroller too.
Might have been the same lady.
It might have been. I mean, when you're in a shop and the shop is elbow to elbow people, and this woman comes barreling through with a double stroller and getting mad because people weren't getting out of her way. I get it. You know, strollers, I used to push one, but you got to be just as courteous as you're expecting those people to be.
I'll tell you exactly what it was. You know, when you come in Disney World in the Magic Kingdom, off to the right, they have the little store where you get your name monogrammed on hats. And we were in there getting our names monogrammed on some baseball hats. And that store is not very big. It is not very big at all. It's probably not much bigger than one of the merchant stores on a cruise ship, you know, where they have the logos, you know, and it's about that tight in there. And the store was full. And here comes this lady who, like Tiffany said, with a double stroller, not one in the front, one in the back, side by side, double stroller, side by side ones, just pushing and banging into people. And she couldn't even fit between stuff in there, but she was just banging away in there. Oh,
Chris had to leave.
I was not having it.
Chris had to walk out before he said something. So yeah. But yeah. But I'll start working on a video. I've got to remember what it was that I was planning on doing.
I forgot. She had a really good idea, and we're gonna have to think of what it was. But yeah, Tiffany does need to get back and make some of her cooking videos again.
Yes.
You guys got to ride her on that, because otherwise she's
sorry. It has been a busy last couple of.
That's true, and it has been busy with the cruise, and then Tiffany had to go to Tennessee and things like that. It actually has been pretty busy.
Jane said, my next cruise is on NCL Luna out of Miami, and it's in Eastern Caribbean, June 28th of 2026. Attila said, watch out for scooter drivers who'll run you over if you don't get out of their way.
On cruise ships, on land, yeah, some of them are just absolutely jerk-offs.
Yeah.
And it's a tiny amount compared to the majority, but it's always that small amount that makes such a bad name for each and every group out there. You know, people complain, unruly, terrible, nasty kids on cruise ships, but it's a couple of kids. You know, it's not like every parent just free ranges them as soon as they hit on the ship. It's some, but that some makes a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
Scooter riders, it's the same thing. People with bad elevator etiquette. That's who you're going to remember. You're not going to remember the 40 times you got on the elevator and everybody was polite and courteous and having fun conversations in the elevator. You're going to remember that one bad one. Those are the ones that stick out in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, so we will definitely make sure Tiffany is prepping her next cooking video. We will get that done. We're going to be counting down to our next cruise. Of course, we still have videos coming out for a hot while still. We still got several more Disney. I read the comment. Several more from Harmony of the Seas. Got some videos coming out this weekend. The one on Sunday, I recommend you guys check that out. I'm sure you guys have seen a little bit about this now, but this has got to be what I consider one of the nastiest, most evil cruise passenger stories I've honestly come across in a long time. And I'll be talking about that one on Sunday. So stay tuned for that one. And we're going to continue to work to get everything moved over, and we will realistically start looking at an Honest Group cruise under the new company for 2027. So that is what we're going to be working on.
So is that just Disney? Well, kind of on ships too, but they are frustrated by elevator etiquette.
Mm. Yeah. Elevator etiquette on a cruise ship can be awful sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It can just honestly be awful. Which is why I always say, if you can, and it's always a can, because not everybody can, take the stairs. We're notorious. If we're only going up a deck or two, we'll go up the stairs, and we'll go down the stairs from 15 to 3 if necessary, because, well, it's all downhill. Yeah. It's really easy to go down. Not as easy at my age to go up, but very easy to go down. Worst case scenario, I trip, fall, and I'm still going to end up down at the bottom at some point. Just bounce your way all the way down. You hit the wall, bounce
it's
down.
Carpeted.
It's carpeted. I'll be okay. Facts.
Yes.
But all right, we are going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up for tonight. We've been on here a little bit over an hour. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We really, really appreciate it. Love having these conversations. And then we will definitely be back next week with some. Yeah, we'll be here next week, right? Yes. I don't know why I think we wouldn't. And it's almost time to start the spooky season. Time to break out the Halloween stuff, the Halloween shirts, and bring in the spooky season here.
Tell us my sore knees would like to have a word with you.
Hey, my knees bother me too, which is why you won't get me to go up more than 1 or 2. And sometimes it's pretty slow. Sometimes Tiffany has to stop and wait for me. But honestly, I would rather try that than sometimes deal with these elevators. Of course, we have some elevator tips and tricks that we do that James will tell you. We know ways to skirt around some of the elevator problems sometimes.
Ellie wants to know when the set is going to be decorated. I'm actually going to start working on that this weekend because it's driving me nuts. September 1st, I should have had it decorated for fall already, and I'm slacking. So I am sorry. AKA
she wants to pull out her Disney stuff and hang it up again. That's really what that is. We will definitely let you know about the group cruise. The official announcement, now that we're, like I said, we're talking about moving it. We'll have more information if we make it official that we're not going to do the 2026, though I'd say we're probably not going to at this point. Once we land on a brand new one for 2027, we will start to lock that in. Like I said, we just got to finish the transition over. And we will get that done as soon as we possibly can.
Yes.
So again, excuse me.
So just want to tell everybody, thank y'all for being here. We have so much fun on Wednesday nights with y'all.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Really, really appreciate it. See you guys next week. And of course, like always,
we'll see you out on the high seas.
Good night, everybody.